what kind of support do we offer? This is really cool. With the developer account, everybody gets their own phone number into the Ribbit system, and that allows you to call into your app and test it out and play with it and do all stuff. I wouldn't distribute that number, but it's just basically for you to essentially test the applications as you build them. One of the cool things, as I'll show you, is there's some events associated, as you can imagine, with receiving calls, and it's really good to code against those. A good way to practice building the app. We give developers an exclusive sandbox environment, so that's an environment that only developers, other developers like you, are using. So you can basically put that thing through the ringer and test, and there's no limitations there. And then, of course, once your app is production ready, we have a certification process that your app will go through, and then it'll get onto our production server. I actually think companies like eBay have a similar process where they let you sort of play and code in one side, and then when you're ready. The difference is, of course, everything is fully featured, up to date on both environments. So the developer environment has all the performance that the production environment does, including the support for phone numbers and such. So full use of Ribbit services. The developer site forums, which is a great resource to share your information with other developers, ask questions. That's really the heartbeat of our support is the community. And so I encourage you, when you start coding, to visit the forums, ask some questions. We have I think it's over 200 topics there with several responses. The most popular are around getting started. So people who are really beginners will come in and check that and find out some tips and tricks, and we ourselves contribute directly to those forums. And we check those constantly. And then we have a platform team, and some folks like Brendan just came in. Are going to be here in the afternoon to assist you. But when you do start getting developing, you can email us directly. And thankfully, we have a big enough team where there's plenty of us to go around and actually help you out. But really, the SDK is so easy that we usually the only time we hear from people is in amazement that it only took them 5 minutes to build their first app. So it's pretty easy to go as designed. And of course, we have our Ribbit spawns, which you're part of right now. This is our second one, and we're trying to do them seasonally. So we had a spring, a summer. We haven't scheduled our fall yet, but that's coming up quickly, and then we'll probably do our winter one January, February of next year. So keep an eye out for those. And as, like I said, the next version of the API comes out, the content will be very fresh. Anybody here at our spring spawn? Anybody here in March? Of course you are. Welcome back. Okay. And then, of course, signing up, free developer account, developer.ribbit.com, and you can download the sample apps. And as of today, we have over 5,500 registered developers in our community, which is huge. And the benefit, obviously, for us is obvious. The more people using Ribbit, the more successful the effort's going to be. But the benefits really for the community. The more people partner, the more people actively coding, the more support, and basically the more onus on us to actually, further develop the API, get more features out there. So when you have 5,500 people sort of screaming at you to add this feature, it's pretty hard to not do that. So documentation we're going to get into now to round out the first segment here. One of the things I'm most happy with is from day one, we've offered the AS docs with the API. Those are industry standard documentation. So those of you who've gone to live docs, working with Flex and other third-party APIs, you'll know what AS docs are. Some of you have maybe even compiled those along with your application. And what that does for us is it really allows us to offer in the same language how to code with the API. I'm really happy that from day one we've done that. We generate the AS docs with our code. So basically what that means is as we update the code with new methods and such, we're regenerating the AS docs so they're always current, and you can always get them at developer.ribbit.com/docs. So those of you who don't know, this is very beginner. I just did a layman's term slide because sometimes I speak at conferences that aren't that object-oriented. So I did want to throw this up there. Methods in an API are sent from your code and they basically command the API, the server, to do something. So a method is you telling the API to do something, or your application, like log in or make a call or hang up or answer call or send message. You're commanding the API to do something. Events are sent from the API, and that commands your code. So that's the server responding to you, or in the case in Ribbit, in some instances, pushing to you, saying, do this, or this has happened, or here's such and such data. And then, of course, objects organize the data. So we need a way to contain the data that we're sending back and forth. So we use objects for that, and that organizes, for example, the call object, which is something that we pass back and forth when you're making a call and you're receiving a call. Call object has several properties, one of which is caller, which is the phone number of the person calling you. And in parlance, so we use that every day, it's called caller ID. So just kind of breaks it down for you pretty easily. So the AS3 SDK for Flex, as I said, the SWIC works in Flex and Flash. There's access to all Ribbit services. There's over 40 methods, over 20 events, which isn't too bad. It's very simple considering all that it does. 10 data objects, and the full docs, again, developer.reddit.com/docs, very important. So now more getting into the guts of the API and what it really entails. The API is sort of broken into groups. There's a lot you can do with it. As I said, you can do calling, messaging, contacts. You can log in, obviously. How do you get onto the Ribbit service? So there's a set of APIs for logging in and for getting user information. There's a set of APIs for call control, like making a call and receiving a call. One of the new features that's coming out in 2.5 is the ability to do what we call third-party call control, which right now from your app you can call out to another device or to another application. Down the road we're adding this feature that allows you to actually place a call between your device and someone else's device, sort of like a call bridge. So you don't actually use the application, but you use the application to sort of trigger a call. It's pretty cool. Messaging APIs, again, sending, receiving, and such. And those APIs also include the events related to messaging, like new voicemail, message received, things like that. And then we have contact APIs, which are the address book stuff. And account APIs, this is held private, except if you're building an enterprise application. And what account APIs do is allow your users to manage their Ribbit account, or if you're integrating Ribbit into your own application, it basically allows you to let people check how many credits they have, change their account information, and for some upper tier integration that we have, it allows you to basically let people sign up right through your app without leaving your application. Again, these are held more private. Those aren't in the 201 SWIC that we distribute. Basically, under certain circumstances, if you're building an application enterprise level, we'll offer those solutions to you.